We're on to some of our recent games, and Sam, as you're here as our elusive guest, here you are, you're back again after 6 months. Do you want to get us started?
Yeah, I was just going to run through a few of the games I've been playing on a regular occurrence. Obviously, Mario Kart 8 DX, the N-Europe League has been back for a while now. Just want to say, Glenn I does a fantastic job keeping it running, and it's always fun to have a few races with fellow forum members. That's on at 8 PM on a Thursday, if anyone wants to join. And then that's usually followed up by some Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. So with the recent addition of Min Min from ARMS, there are now even more great characters to play as in Smash, which makes playing the game online even more enjoyable. I even got my brother to join in with a couple of times. He's newer to the game, but he's always loved the series. There are many great games of Smash Bros. Melee on the GameCube growing up. But as for Smash Ultimate, we usually play that 9 PM on a Thursday, and I think anyone can join that. It's also a bit of, speaking of GameCube, Phantasy Star Online episodes 1 and 2. Been putting in a few hours here and there just on a private server, which probably has a population of between 10 and 20 players.
Wow. At
its peak. But, it's managing to still play the game online, It's slow progress, so I managed to get Phony World character called Knights up to level 83, with help from the excellent community on the server, and players who I play with on a semi-regular basis, so that's always a fun game to dip in and out of. But the main game I've been playing is Sea of Thieves. It's another one I've been playing weekly. It's proven to be a very enjoyable game. Obviously you play as a pirate, Arg, and you go off sailing the seas looking for treasure. Sailing on the ship is very intuitive once you've been shown the ropes. It's easier once you have more of a crew, as each member has their own part of the ship to take care of. Someone can be at the map table navigating, while one person steers the ship, while others hoist the sails, drop and raise the anchor, and of course man the cannons. So there's plenty of interesting events that happen in the game, and of course with it being by Rare, who used to be famed for many of their classic N64 games, it's interesting to see a new Rare game. And they really have evolved it over time. When it first came out, I don't know, so many years ago now, I wasn't necessarily that sold on it. But once you get into it and you see all the new content and everything they've added to it, they're really trying with it. And I think potentially now it's one of those games you can play cross-play on Xbox One and PC. I mean, who knows? Later on down the line, if they could work out some kind of deal with Nintendo. I'm not sure how the Switch would run it, but if it's technically possible, I think that's another avenue they could use to expand their player base.
What are you playing it on, Sam? Xbox or PC?
I play it on the Xbox One, just the base model, and it seems to run reasonably well. I mean, when you're playing with people who are on PC, sometimes there are a few technical hurdles. But when it's running and everyone's in the game, it's pretty great, really. And you just kind of get like lost in whatever you're doing. You're usually going off on a voyage, to some far off island, and you got your map. And then usually once you get there, the quest kind of devolve into two types of things. It's either looking for treasure, or you'd be fighting like some kind of boss skeleton over there. And of course that brings into the combat as well. So you might go onto an island that seems pretty quiet to start out with, and then all of a sudden you're making some progress and all these skeletons pop out in the ground, and you might find yourself getting overrun. So if you've got a few of you there, if you do get taken out, there is kind of like a revival system, but you have to kind of revive someone without being interrupted. So if you try and do that and you're in the middle of a load of skeletons, you might not going to be so successful. I mean, you just end up going back to your ship, when you spawn. But I think kind of the problems arise if your whole crew's taken out and then your ship is besieged by cannon fire and then ends up sinking beneath the waves. So it takes a lot of coordination, and also say you've loaded up your ship with a load of treasure. There's definitely a balancing act to be had, because you could go with say about 2 or 3 chests, go back no problem, go and cash them in. That'll raise your reputation and everything. But you might decide to do a whole host of islands and end up with a whole hold full of treasure with about say like 20 different chests. And it's at that point usually when you're sailing the seas, you might find that certain events occur more frequently, such as shark attacks, and or you might get beset by the kraken, and you don't necessarily want that to happen when you've got all that treasure, because if you lose it and the ship goes down, that's it.
There's no Wind Waker style crane to be digging it out at the bottom of the ocean.
There isn't the crane, but it did remind me of Wind Waker in quite a few ways.
Yeah.
If you think of that, but a bit more in depth. Say if you're sailing the small ship, you probably be able to compare it to Wind Waker, obviously without the music. Yeah, you have actually got these kind of like I forget what you call it, not quite a crane, but a like a grappling hook. You've got 2 grappling hooks on your ship, so if you see some treasure passing by that's floating on the water, you can actually grab it out of the water as you're passing by. And so there is kind of that element to it. I think they've definitely taken some elements from Wind Waker and lots of other games, probably just like the best of pirate games. And you know what Rare are like, they have a history with pirates and whatnot, so I think it's one of those games they've wanted to make for a long time. So yeah, I've been really enjoying kind of getting into it, just playing it maybe once a week, and proven to be more enjoyable than I expected.
I think I've been having a similar experience with Borderlands with my son. Just once a week, maybe twice a week at the most, and popping in, doing half an hour, doing a couple of missions, and it's got that MMO feel, but it's more, I suppose Borderlands is more like Monster Hunter, but yeah, it's slowly building your character up over time, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a great game. You can just dip in for maybe a couple of missions, or go on a more elaborate voyage. And, there's plenty of other pirate tropes in there and things like that. You can go down to the cavern, and you can get drunk. You got, like, say if you take a swig out of the tankard and you refill it back 3 times, your character gets more progressive drunk, and you're there staggering around. And you'd think just a simple thing, it's just your character being drunk again, but no, they've kind of taken it to new levels of detail with just small things like that.
Does it have that kind of cheeky, Rare sense of humour as well?
Yeah, I think it does, because also you've got things like instruments you can play as well, so you can like pull out an accordion or a little mandolin or something, and you'll play predetermined songs just by holding in the right trigger. So you got some good old sea shanties there. But say if you're playing it while you're under the influence, you'll notice you'll start missing notes and things like that. And it's just got a good natured spirit behind it, and it's good to see, especially after not really playing a new Rare game for a long time.
Greg, we need to see Rare replay on the Switch. Yeah,
we do, 100%.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button and give us a like if you've enjoyed our content. You can also check out our other great content on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and the N-E Café podcast from all good podcast providers. Just follow the links in the description below.